Hello students, let us continue the topic on digestion and absorption. Come to absorption of food materials. In the last lecture, we have discussed digestion in the buccal cavity, in the stomach, in the intestine, and the end products are also absorbed from the lumen of the alimentary canal into the blood or lymph. And come to remaining portion, absorption of digested materials takes place in various regions of alimentary canal like mouth, stomach, small intestine and large intestine. But the principal site of digestion is small intestine. Let us go with the summary of absorption. Summary of absorption in different parts. In different parts of gut. Different parts of gut. First, mouth, stomach, small intestine and large intestine. Come to the mouth, certain drugs are coming in contact with the mucus of the mouth, are absorbed into the blood capillaries which lining them. You know, below the tongue there are numerous blood capillaries. So, certain drugs are absorbed into the blood capillaries which are supplied to the mucosa of the mouth. Come to stomach, in stomach also certain substances are absorbed like water, simple sugars, alcohol and certain medicines. It was given in NCERT in the summary. So, water, simple sugars, alcohol and medicines are absorbed in the stomach. Come to the small intestine, it is the principal site of digestion and absorption. Digestion and absorption. So, the digestion is completed in this region and the end products like amino acids, glucose, fructose, galactose are directly absorbed into the blood capillaries, whereas fatty acids and glycerol are absorbed into the lacteal. Lacteal is a lymph capillary. So, you remember the major site of digestion and absorption is the small intestine. Come to large intestine. In the large intestine, there is no significant digestive activity, but it plays an important role in the absorption of certain drugs and minerals and drugs, but it has no significant digestive activity. So, this table explains the summary of absorption in different parts of the alimentary canal. Once again I am revising defecation. Defecation also named as ejection. Ejection is the last function of alimentary canal. What is meant by defecation? What is the importance of defecation? You know, undigested and unabsorbed substances from the small intestine slowly pass on to the large intestine. In the large intestine, there is no significant digestive activity, but the large intestine has two important functions. First thing is large amount of water is absorbed in the large intestine, and along with the water certain minerals also absorbed. And the second function is it secretes mucus. The mucus is secreted by the large intestine, helps in holding of undigested food particles together and helps in easy passage of it. So later, the large intestine has three important parts. The first part is cecum, second one is colon, and third one is rectum. So from the colon, the undigested or unabsorbed substances slowly enters into the rectum, where these substances are temporarily stored till defecation, till egestion. So between the small intestine and large intestine, there is a valve that is called as ileocecal valve. The ileocecal valve allows passage of undigested food particles or undigested substances from the ileum into the cecum. At the same time, they prevent backward movement from cecum to ileum. So ileocecal valve present between the large and small intestine and large intestine. So in the rectum, these undigested substances are temporarily stored till defecation. Then in the rectum, the undigested particles are solidified into feces, fecal matter. They solidified into fecal matter. Why and how they become solidified? The reason is water present in the undigested food materials are absorbed through the wall of the large intestine. Large intestine play a very important role in absorption of water, certain drugs, and some certain minerals also. Certain minerals. So the fecal matter becomes solidified in the feces. You know, the fecal matter, particularly the undigested material, mostly includes plant fibers. These plant fibers are generally referred as roughages. Roughages are the fibers. These plant fibers are mostly made of cellulose. We cannot digest cellulose. Cellulose do not provide energy, but it helps in easy passage of food materials because it acts as fiber and it avoids constipation. It adds weight to the food materials and helps in easy passage of food materials through different parts of the gut, and it also avoids constipation. Later, so after solidification of the fecal matter in the rectum, a neural reflux is initiated. Then this neural reflex causes urge for removal of fecal matter. Urge means force. So the digestion of the food materials is a voluntary process. In adult human being, the digestion or defecation of fecal matter is a voluntary process which is carried out by mass peristaltic movements. Mass peristaltic movements. Mass peristaltic movements. What is meant by mass peristaltic movements? It is a increased peristaltic movements. The increased peristaltic movements eliminates the fecal matter by the way of anus. Digestion of undigested substances takes place via anus. Then our concept is hormonal control. The alimentary canal is controlled and coordinated by both neural and hormonal mechanisms. Both neural and hormonal mechanisms. The smell of food, taste of food, and the presence of food in the buccal cavity can stimulate the production of salivary amylase. Salivary amylase is an enzyme. At the same time, both gastric and intestinal secretions also stimulated by the neural and hormonal mechanisms. So, various parts of alimentary canal are coordinated by certain local hormones. Local hormones. In the 10th standard, you have studied enteric nervous system. The enteric nervous system located on the wall of the gut. So there are certain local hormones. Local hormones nothing but these hormones are produced by the wall of the alimentary canal. Wall of the alimentary canal also act as accessory endocrine system. They produce certain hormones. What kind of hormones are produced by the wall of the gut and what are their functions? So different hormones of gut. Hormones of gut. First hormone is gastrin. Gastrin. The gastrin is produced by epithelium of stomach. Epithelium of stomach. Which epithelium? Mucosal epithelium of stomach. The gastrin stimulates the peptic cells and parietal cells. Peptic and parietal cells to secrete pepsinogen and hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid maintains acidic pH inside the stomach, which activates inactive pepsinogen into active pepsin. So gastrin hormone stimulates the peptic cells to secrete pepsinogen, stimulates the parietal cells to secrete hydrochloric acid. Come to next hormone, secretin. Gastric inhibitory peptide. Gastric inhibitory peptide also named as enterogastrone. Enterogastrone. The gastric inhibitory peptide is simply abbreviated as GIP. This hormone secreted by the epithelium of duodenum. It is secreted by epithelium of duodenum. This hormone prevents gastric secretion. It prevents gastric secretion and gastric motility. Prevent gastric secretion and gastric motility. Which means the gastric inhibitory peptide is antagonistic to the gastrin hormone, which prevents the secretion of gastrin hormone. Thereby it prevents the activities of the enzymes of gastric glands. Next hormone is secretin. Secretin produced by epithelium of duodenum. Epithelium of duodenum, which stimulates the pancreatic acini. Stimulates the pancreatic acini to release water and bicarbonates. It is the role of the secretin, which stimulates the pancreatic acini to release water and bicarbonates. And the next hormone is cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin, pancreogymin. Cholecystokinin, pancreogymin. The cholecystokinin pancreogymin is simply abbreviated as CCK-PZ. Cholecystokinin pancreogymin also secreted by the epithelium of duodenum. Epithelium of duodenum. What is the role of the CCK-PZ? Which stimulates the pancreas and gallbladder. To release pancreatic enzymes or to secrete pancreatic enzymes and to release stored bile juice. CCK, PZ and secretin are very important hormones. Are frequently asking questions on these two hormones and very confusing. The secretin acts on pancreatic acid and secrete water and bicarbonates. But whereas CCK, PZ stimulates the pancreas to secrete pancreatic enzymes, stimulates the gallbladder to release stored bile juice because the bile is temporarily stored in the gallbladder. Next hormone is diocrinin. The diocrinin also secreted from epithelium of duodenum. Epithelium of duodenum. This diocrinin stimulates the Brunner's glands. We studied previously about Brunner's glands. The Brunner's glands located on the submucosa of duodenum. These Brunner's glands secrete mucus. And the next hormone is enterocrinin. Enterocrinin produced from the epithelium of intestine, epithelium of a small intestine. And what is the role of the enterocrinin? Enterocrinin stimulates crypts of Lieberkühn to release succus entericus. And the next hormone is villikinin. The villikinin hormone produced from the intestinal villi. And what is the role of the villikinin? The villikinin stimulates the movement of villi, thereby increases absorption. It stimulates the movement of villi and increases absorption. And next hormone is somatostatin. What is somatostatin? From where it is secreted? Somatostatin produced by the delta cells of islets of Langerhans. Islets of Langerhans of pancreas. In the islets of Langerhans, there are three kinds of cells, very important cells: alpha cells, beta cells and delta cells. Alpha cells produce glucagon hormone, glucagon. Beta cells produce insulin hormone. Now, what is the role of somatostatin? The somatostatin prevents production of glucagon from alpha cells and the production of insulin from beta cells. It also prevents the absorption of materials from gastrointestinal tract, prevents the absorption from gut, gastrointestinal tract. And next thing is somatostatin also produced by the argentafin cells of gastric and intestinal glands. So, somatostatin not only produced by the delta cells of islets of Langerhans of pancreas, it is also secreted by the argentafin cells of gastric and intestinal glands. Now, what is the role of somatostatin produced by the gastric and intestinal glands? This hormone prevents secretion of hormones from gastrointestinal tract or gut. It prevents the secretion of hormones from gut. This is about hormonal control of alimentary canal. Come to next part, calorific value. Calorific value of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Calorific values of proteins, carbohydrates and fats. What is calorific value? You know, the energy requirement of animals and the energy content of the food is expressed in terms of a measure of calories or joules. J. You know, calories or joules must be capitalized. They must be started with a capital letter. So, energy requirements of animals, the energy content of the food is expressed in terms of a measure of calories or joules. How can we define a calorie or a joule? It is the amount of energy required to increase the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. So, calorie is defined as it is the amount of energy required to increase the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. Since it is a teeny amount of energy, the physiologists generally measured calories or joules as kilocalories. Kilocalories are kilojoules. Kilojoules. So, how can we define kilocalorie? The kilocalorie is the amount of energy required to increase the temperature of 1 kg of water. 1 kg of water by 1 degree Celsius. By 1 degree Celsius. So, there is a difference. Here 1 gram of water, here 1 kg of water. So, the amount of energy required to increase the temperature of 1 gram of water is calorie. But the amount of energy required to increase the temperature of 1 kg of water is kilocalorie or kilojoules. So, kilocalorie or kilojoules generally measured are represented as calories or joules. Next, very important thing. Now, we are going to discuss, that is gross calorific values. Gross calorific value of food and physiologic value of food. What is the difference between a gross calorific value and a physiological value of food? The total amount of energy is released from complete combustion of 1 gram of food. The total amount of energy is released from complete combustion of 1 gram of food in bomb calorimeter. In bomb calorimeter. Bomb calorimeter is a closed metal chamber filled with oxygen. So, there is no loss of energy. So, it is the maximum amount of energy released when 1 gram of food is combusted in the closed metal chamber. Now, what are the gross calorific values of carbohydrates, proteins and fats? Carbohydrates, the gross calorific value of carbohydrates is 4.1 kilocalorie per gram. Proteins 5.65 kilocalorie per gram. Fat 9.1 kilocalorie per gram. So, it is the gross calorific values of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. But to come to physiological value of food, you know, living systems are open systems. Living systems are not so efficient. So, they cannot utilize the total amount of energy liberated when 1 gram of food is oxidized, which means there is a loss of certain amount of energy. So, there is a loss because living systems are open systems. Now, what is meant by physiological value of food? It is defined as the total amount of heat energy liberated when complete combustion of 1 gram of food in the living systems. Now, the physiological value of food materials of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. The physiological value of carbohydrate is 4.0 kilocalorie per gram. Proteins again 4.0 kilocalorie per gram. Fats 9.0 kilocalorie per gram. So the oxidation of fats yields almost a double amount of energy than carbohydrates and proteins. So there is a little difference between a gross calorific value and a physiological value of food. You have 4.1 kilocalorie of energy, there 4.0, 5.65 4.0, 9.1 9.0. Because here the combustion of the food takes place in a metal chamber, but here combustion of the food takes place in the living body. Living systems or open systems, they are not so efficient. So there is a loss of certain amount of energy. So the energy requirements of animals and energy content of the food is expressed in terms of measure of calories or joules, because heat energy is the ultimate form of all energies. Heat energy is the ultimate forms of all energies. Yeah, this is about calorific values of carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Come to disorders of alimentary canal. Disorders of alimentary canal or gut or gastrointestinal tract. Inflammation. Is the inflammation. Inflammation is caused by the certain bacterial and viral infections. Bacterial and viral infections causes inflammation. What is inflammation? Inflammation is a physical condition in which the part is, particularly the infected part, is reddened, swollen and accompanied by pain. Pain also there. So not only bacterial or viral infections, certain intestinal parasites. Intestinal parasites also causes diseases of alimentary canal. What kind of parasites? Like roundworm, tapeworm, threadworm, hookworm and pinworm. These are various types of helminthic pathogens. These helminthic pathogens also causes infections to the alimentary canal. Tapeworm scientific name is Taenia solium. Taenia solium. Roundworm scientific name is Ascaris lumbricoides. Threadworm Strongyloides. Hookworm Enterobius vermicularis. Pinworm Ankylostoma duodenale. So these are the various kinds of helminthic pathogens. Tapeworm belongs to phylum Platyhelminthes, but roundworm, threadworm, hookworm, pinworm belongs to phylum Nematohelminthes or Haskellminthes. Yeah, first disease is jaundice. So now we are going to discuss various kinds of disorders seen in alimentary canal. Jaundice. In this, liver is affected. It is also named as hepatitis. And one more thing, common symptom in jaundice is anorexia. What is anorexia? Lack of appetite. What is appetite? Lack of hunger. There is no hunger in jaundice disease. In this, skin and white part of eyeball becomes yellow due to deposition of bile pigments like bilirubin and biliverdin. So when liver is affected, it leads to accumulation of bilirubin and biliverdin in the skin and white part of the eye. So it leads to jaundice. very dangerous disease. Next disease is vomiting. What is meant by vomiting? Vomiting is ejection of contents of stomach through the mouth. You know, nausea. Nausea means vomiting sensation. Nausea precedes vomiting. Precedes vomiting. So nausea leads to vomiting. So it is the ejection of contents of the stomach through the mouth. The vomiting is a reflex action which is controlled by vomit center located on medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata has vomit center. It is involuntary action. It's a reflex action controlled by the medulla oblongata. And the next disease is diarrhea. Diarrhea. What is diarrhea? Diarrhea is defined as abnormal fecal discharge which increases the liquidity of the fecal matter. So in diarrhea, the major symptom is dehydration. More amount of water is discharged along with fecal matter, which affects the absorption of food materials and also causes dehydration. Dehydration is very dangerous. The next disease, constipation. Constipation, what is meant by constipation? In constipation, the fecal matter is retained in the colon. Retained in the colon due to lack of sufficient water. Due to lack of sufficient water, the food becomes solidified, which is retained in the colon. So the person don't want to go to latrine, constipation. The constipation is avoided by taking fiber-rich food. Fiber-rich diet, particularly roughages, fibers. Roughages includes cellulose. Cellulose is a plant fiber. This cellulose is used to avoid constipation. And the next disease is indigestion. What is indigestion? Improper digestion of the food materials. Improper digestion of the food materials leads to indigestion. Indigestion mainly caused by the intaking of fat rich food and fast foods. Improper secretion of digestive enzymes. Improper secretion of digestive enzymes. And some other reasons also there, like anxiety. Anxiety and overeating. Overeating. The major symptoms during indigestion are vomiting and abdominal pain. Vomiting and abdominal pain. These are the major symptoms during indigestion. So indigestion caused by the overeating, anxiety, improper secretion of digestive food materials, enzymes, fast foods, and taking of fat-rich food materials. So far we have discussed the structure of alimentary canal, digestive glands, the process of digestion, absorption, and hormonal control of alimentary canal, and diseases also. Yeah, let us start with a new topic, that is vitamins. Vitamins are not given in NCERT and in state textbook also, but vitamins are very important for our discussion. Vitamins are micronutrients. These are micronutrients, also called as trace elements. Why these are called trace elements? Because body requires vitamins in low quantity. Low quantity. But these are essential nutrients. These are essential nutrients. Very essential nutrients. And the most important thing is, vitamins do not provide any energy. But why the living organisms, why the human being required vitamins? Vitamins generally act as cofactors for enzymes. They act as cofactors for enzymes. Without vitamins, these enzymes cannot act on food materials. And vitamins are organic substances. These are not inorganic. These are organic substances. Organic substances, trace elements, and micronutrients. But essential. They act as cofactors for enzymes. There are two sources of vitamins to human being. First source is bacteria. Certain bacteria are present in the wall of the alimentary canal, particularly in the large intestine, synthesizes certain vitamins like B1, B2, vitamin K and B12. And the second source is diet. Diet is the main source of vitamins. So, vitamins are chemically divided into two types, fat soluble and water soluble. Fat soluble vitamins. Now, we are going to discuss about fat soluble vitamins like vitamin A, D, E and K. Yeah, let us start with vitamin A. Vitamin A. The vitamin A chemically called as retinol. It is retinol. And sources of vitamin A, green leafy vegetables. Green leafy vegetables, papaya, mango, tomato, cod liver oil, and shark liver oil. Shark liver oil and cod liver oil, shark liver oil and carrot also. Yeah. Now, what is the role of the vitamin A? Vitamin A is essential for vision. It is essential for vision and also play a very important role in differentiation of epithelial cells. Differentiation of epithelial cells. The deficiency of vitamin A, if the vitamin A is deficient, it leads to certain disorders like night blindness. Deficiency leads to night blindness. The night blindness also named as nyctalopia. Nyctalopia. Vitamins play a very important role in the body. That too, vitamins are very important for exam point of view, for any exam point of view, NEET and R and MSET. In nyctalopia, less rhodopsin present in rods. So, the person is unable to see in dim light. Unable to see in dim light, nyctalopia. And one more deficiency disease is gerophthalmia. What is gerophthalmia? Gerophthalmia occurs due to dryness of conjunctiva and cornea of the eye. So vitamin A is very important for normal vision. Yeah, this is about vitamin A. Name of the vitamin, particular chemical name, its sources, its role and deficiency disorders. Next, vitamin D. Its chemical name is calciferol. Calciferol. It is commonly called as anti-rickety vitamin. Anti-rickety vitamin. It is also named as a sunshine vitamin. Sunshine vitamin. Sources. Sunlight play a very important role in the synthesis of vitamin D. Vitamin D also available in cod and sork liver oil like vitamin A, sork liver oil. And a function. What is the function of the vitamin D? The vitamin D play a very important role in absorption of calcium from gastrointestinal tract. It also helps in, it also controls the deposition of calcium in the bones. So it play important role in the proper formation of the bones. Deficiency. Deficiency of vitamin D leads to rickets in children. Rickets in children, osteomalacia in adults. So, vitamin deficiency, particularly vitamin D deficiency, leads to rickets in children. What are the symptoms? Bow legs and knock knees. Bow legs and knock knees. While the defected children is walking, both the knees are knocking with each other. Knock knees. NOCK, knock knees. Come to osteomalacia. In osteomalacia, bones become softening. Bones become softening. They can easily fracture due to deficiency of calcium and phosphates. So, osteomalacia seen in adults, rickets seen in children. Next, vitamin E. Vitamin E is chemically called as tocopherol. It is commonly called as anti-sterility vitamin. Anti-sterility vitamin, and also named as fertility vitamin. Fertility vitamin. And the sources of vitamin E: wheat grain and oils of vegetables. Oils of vegetables like sunflower oil. Functional. What is the main function of the vitamin E? The vitamin E acts as a powerful antioxidant. It acts as a powerful antioxidant. What is meant by antioxidant? Antioxidant generally prevents free radicals of oxygen. Thereby, they prevent unnecessary oxidation of food materials. So, it acts as a powerful antioxidant. And it also required for normal functioning of reproductive organs. Normal functioning of reproductive organs. Required for normal functioning of reproductive organs, and it also acts as a powerful antioxidant. Deficiency. Its deficiency leads to sterility in males. Sterility in males, abortion in females. Abortion in females. Sterility means the males become sterile. They are unable to produce fertile spermatozoa. And abortion in females means females are frequently suffering with abortions in the deficiency of vitamin E. Its chemical name is tocopherol. Next, vitamin K. Vitamin K is of three types: K1, K2 and K3. K1 phylloquinone. Phylloquinone is the chemical name of vitamin K. K2 is menaquinone. menaquinone, and K3 is menadione. Menadione. It's generally referred as blood coagulant vitamin. Blood coagulant vitamin. And the sources. Vitamin K available in wheat germs. Wheat germs and a bacteria present in the large intestine also synthesizes vitamin K, and this vitamin also available in green leafy vegetables. Green leafy vegetables. What is the function of the vitamin K? It play very important role in blood clotting. Vitamin K is required for a synthesis of certain blood clotting factors in the liver. So it play a very important role in blood clotting, thereby it prevents loss of blood. Deficiency. Its deficiency leads to faulty blood clotting. There is no proper clotting of blood. So the person loses more amount of blood even in minor injury also. One more important point regarding vitamin K. One important point regarding vitamin K, Melilotus indica. Melilotus indica, it is a small herbaceous flowering plant seen in Northern Africa. It produces one important component called as dicumarole. Dicumarole is antagonistic. It is antagonistic to vitamin K, means which prevents activity of vitamin K, thereby it prevents clotting of blood in cattle particularly. Cattle. It is a fodder of cattle. So we have discussed the fat soluble vitamins so far. Now come to the water soluble vitamins. The water soluble vitamins are of two types, B complex vitamins and vitamin C. Yeah, let us start with B complex vitamins. Vitamin B1, it is chemically called as thiamine. Chemically called as thiamine. Sources. It is available in whole grains, wheat germ, nuts, function. The function of the vitamin B1 is it play a very important role in repair and the growth of tissues. Repair and growth of tissues. Deficiency. Its deficiency leads to beriberi disease. Beriberi is a disease which is caused by the deficiency of vitamin B1, that is thiamine. In beriberi disease, symptoms paralysis, softening of muscles, occurs, paralysis occurs. These are the symptoms in beriberi. And one more thing, alcoholics causes deficiency of B1 vitamin. You know, some people having the habit of alcohol consumption. In such people, vitamin B deficiency occurs. Alcoholics. sort of B1 vitamin. Alcoholics are sort of B1 vitamin, means they disturb metabolism of B1 vitamin in the liver. Then it leads to two disorders. One is Wernicke's syndrome. Wernicke's syndrome and Korsakoff's syndrome. Wernicke's syndrome and Korsakoff syndrome both are brain disorders. Next, vitamin B2. Vitamin B2, chemically called as riboflavin. Sources: it available in wheat germ, whole grains, nuts, mushroom, liver, meat, milk, egg. Function: riboflavin plays a very important role in production of RBC. Production of RBC. And deficiency. Its deficiency leads to a disorder named as cheilosis. Cheilosis, also called as glossitis. What is cheilosis? In this cheilosis, dryness of lip, mouth cracks at corner, red and glazed tongue. What is glazed tongue? Redness of the tongue. So, mouth cracks at corner, lip dryness, red and glazed tongue, these are the symptoms in riboflavin deficiency. It plays a very important role in the production of RBC. Next, vitamin B3, which is chemically referred as nicotinic acid. Nicotinic acid or nicotinamide. The vitamin B3 acts as a cofactor. Function: it acts as a cofactor for flavin mononucleotide. And vitamin B3 deficiency leads to a disorder called as a pellagra. Symptoms: photophobia, thickened lips, darkening of the skin, which is exposed to the sunlight. These are the symptoms in pellagra disease. Sources: wheat germ, nuts, yeast, milk, meat, eggs. Milk, meat, eggs. These are the sources of deficiency disorders. Pellagra, it's chemically called as nicotinic acid or nicotinamide. This is about vitamin B3. Next, vitamin B5. It is chemically called as pantothenic acid. sources, nuts, yeast, meat, milk and egg. Nuts, yeast, meat, milk, egg. Its deficiency leads to burning feet. Deficiency leads to burning feet. Dermatitis. Dermatitis means skin related disorder. Graying of hair. Graying of hair. Loss of hair. Graying of hair, loss of hair, dermatitis and burning feet. These are the symptoms of deficiency of pantothenic acid. Next, vitamin B6. Its chemical name is pyridoxine. Chemical name is pyridoxine. Sources: meat, milk, egg, yeast, honey. These are the different sources of pyridoxine. Pyridoxine play a very important role. Means function. Its function is protein metabolism. Protein metabolism. And its deficiency leads to dermatitis. Anemia, iron deficiency, mental disorder, anemia, dermatitis. These are the symptoms in the deficiency of pyridoxine vitamin. Next, vitamin B7. Its chemical name is biotin. Biotin is the chemical name of vitamin B7. Sources: meat, milk, egg, fish and nuts. These are the sources of vitamin B7. Function. The function of the vitamin B7 is it play a very important role in a carbohydrate, protein and a fat metabolism. It play a vital role in carbohydrate, proteins and fat metabolism. Next, in white of egg, there is a protein named as avidin in white of egg. This avidin protein prevents the reabsorption of vitamin biotin from the alimentary canal. So, we cannot eat raw egg because in the raw egg only avidin protein is present, which prevents the absorption of vitamin biotin from the alimentary canal. In this disease, deficiency. The deficiency causes muscle weakness. Convulsion, nausea, lack of appetite. Appetite means hunger, lack of appetite, and hair fall, lack of appetite, nausea, convulsion and muscle weakness. These are the symptoms in the deficiency of vitamin biotin. Students, please go through the lesson and note down the important points. Be careful while you're watching videos. It's mandatory for everyone. Some people are not participating actively. Only few people are participating. It is not good. You have to participate. It is your responsibility. If you miss the video, you miss forever, because these videos will not be available in future. They may be deleted from the YouTube. That too, mobile is not available every time to you. So it is better to put on paper. Thank you.